So I'm going to be honest here. I actually stopped watching fragrance YouTubers a while back. I want to say it's been years. At some point, I saw just how fake that whole atmosphere is on this platform. I've been creating videos about fragrances for like 5 months for fun, literally for fun. I'm more passionate about the video production than I am about the fragrances, and it's been a joy to produce content. But as far as watching content, to this day, I don't really consume it at all because I feel like there's shills in every industry on YouTube. But when you get to fragrances, it just goes to the next level, like for me at least. Like, one of the things that really just makes fragrance YouTube awful is just these branded deals. Like, YouTube used to be a raw place, and that's why it took over mainstream media, because mainstream media always felt like super censored and super fake. And a lot of that is that the people that are on those shows are appeasing the advertisers and the corporations involved. And I feel like that's been happening on YouTube, where branded deals have come in and started paying creators to make content. And now the corporations have kind of a say, or at least they do a quality assurance of what the YouTuber is producing. And that's kind of made YouTube become more and more like mainstream media each year. Like, it used to be a fun place. I've been making videos since 2015, and it used to be this really fun place where it was like you could catch somebody who just has a camera in the room and is making things totally out there. But now when you watch content, a lot of it just feels like it's aimed at appeasing a sponsor, and it's self-censored. And when you get to fragrances, it just goes to another level. Like, it feels like Sephora salespeople. That's the number one reason I stopped watching fragrance YouTubers, is it just doesn't feel authentic at all. It feels like they hype. It's not even that they hype everything, but it feels like they really just never have a balanced opinion. Like, if I'm going to be honest here, most things are a 7 or an 8. Like, a YouTuber's job is really to just say, okay, it's blended well, the scent composition's nice. But as far as my personal opinion, it's probably a 7, an 8, maybe a 6, but it's like, it seems like everything that they review is either a 9 or a 10. Like, they're hyped about it. Like, they're almost pushing it. And then they stuff their description with affiliate links. And the whole hyping is just kind of cheesy and corny. It's like, dude, it's like, I'll read titles like 5 fragrances that will make panties fly at extreme velocity and circle the room, and then referring to fragrances as panty droppers. And then you have the thumbnails where it's like super tacky with bright colors, and everything's a top 10 list. Like, there's a top 10 for autumn, there's a top 10 for night in autumn, a top 10 for dates in the fall, a top 10 for in the morning, a top 10 for the first day of summer. And I'm like, dude, what top 10 is actually your top 10? Then in the background, you see like a ton of fragrance bottles, as if like either they're getting free bottles or they have a hoarding problem or some kind of addiction. I don't know what's going on there. But it's like, if you're actually buying those, then you don't truly value anything. Oh, it smells good, I buy it. Like, and if you're not truly buying those and companies are sending those to you, how can I trust you at all? No wonder you hype everything. And it's like when you go to a Sephora and talk to a sales associate in the fragrance area, to me, it's the same thing as watching fragrance YouTube. Like, the guy's not going to really put down anything. It's his job to sell you on it. So when a fragrance YouTuber makes a commission, they're salespeople. Like, I remember Jeremy Fragrance just openly talking about this in some interview, and I was just appalled. Like, I was in a different niche on the platform at the time. And in my niche, it was a sensitive subject. So you had to stay within the bounds. And just listening to that, I was like, how is this guy not canceled? Like, how are people okay with him literally coming out and blatantly saying, I make money by saying things are good? Another thing is they act like compliments are like a thing that just happens everywhere, and that's the only reason people wear fragrances, is just to get compliments from others. Like, it's where they're like compliment magnet. Like, let's be real. When was the last time you smelt a fragrance on somebody and gave them a compliment? And would you even? Like, compliments are a rare thing. As somebody who wears fragrance daily and goes through a bunch of niche fragrances, I will admit with Creed Aventus, I do get a lot of compliments for some reason. But everything else, literally everything else I've worn, yes, I get a compliment every once in a while, but it's pretty rare. But the way that they promote it and push it is if that's what everybody's looking for, and that's going to be like a common occurrence. And you should pay $200 or $100 for a fragrance because you care about what other people think. Like, I don't know, the whole thing just comes off really corny, really cheesy, really like processed and branded and like dumbed down. They portray themselves as like fragrance experts. I feel like that's part of the reason they have all those bottles in the background, is kind of like a, bruh, I know what I'm talking about. And the more I'm exploring fragrances, I'm like, is there even a point to my channel? Like, because at the end of the day, it's so subjective. Like, I met up with one of my viewers last night and showed him a bunch of things. And I've shown people things. I've done street interviews. And the more I'm showing people things, the more subjective I'm finding out it is, and the more humbling it is. And I'm like, can you really gain much from a YouTuber on fragrances other than entertainment value? Is a YouTuber actually going to be able to communicate what you're going to like and not like? And my answer to that is not really. If you're on YouTube trying to navigate, what to try, have at it. But if you're trying to navigate what to buy, you're gonna feel misled, like, for sure, because things that I really like, you might not like at all. And things that I don't like, you might love. Like Zoologist Penguin, the guy I met with last night really likes that one. My wife's cousin really likes that one. Me and my wife can't stand Penguin at all. Like, do not like it.
It's so weird. I feel like I'm smelling something sour, like a raw lemon that I just cut, and it's so sour. It's a real different choice because you're gonna smell like a sour lemon.
T-Rex. I've actually met people that like T-Rex and others that don't. Even Imagination. I've shown Imagination to people and asked them to 1 to 10 it, and they've given it a 5.
1 to 10 on each.
I get that one about a 5, 6.
There's people that really don't like vibrato at all. They say it's powdery. And then there's people like me that love it. It's so subjective, it's like comical. So when you have these YouTubers coming out and presenting themselves as experts, like, I went to perfume college, I've smelled all these things, I know what I'm talking about. I feel like a fragrance YouTuber is never an expert on what you'll like. The only thing that they could do is share, hey, it's balanced, it's well blended, it has natural ingredients, it lasts a good amount of time, it projects. Like, those are the only objective things that I feel like a fragrance reviewer can give you. But as far as to whether or not you're gonna like it, like, that's so subjective. Like, I feel like they can't even give a likability factor for everyone. It's like if you had a music reviewer, the only thing that they could really tell you is the song is on beat, it's well engineered, it's mixed, it's mastered, it's put together well, it's well done, it's not crap, all right? But whether or not you're gonna like a song is so subjective. And when they have these super large collections, it just makes me sus on like they're releasing 2 reviews a day, they're doing top 10 lists every day. I'm like, dude, how do you have enough time to actually wear everything and build a relationship with it? Like, you're never an expert on fragrances, but I feel like if I wear something over the course of 3-4 days, I'm going to have a lot more awareness of it just from asking other people their opinions, feeling it open up, feeling it dry down, seeing whether it grows on me, whether I go nose blind or not, feeling the vibe of it more. I'm going to have a much better perspective on the fragrance itself than if I just spray it on my arm and, oh, this is my review. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people that are reviewing stuff aren't even wearing it. They're literally just spraying it on their arm, and then this is what it is, bye. And then when they have collections like that and they're pumping out, shelling out content left and right, I'm like, how do you even have a day to wear any of these things? Like, you have like 1,000 fragrances. Have you really worn them? And if you haven't really worn them, can you really give me a balanced perspective on it? Then they delve into notes like, oh, it's got geranium in the top and formaldehyde in the mid. And in the base, it's got osmanthus and gallibanum. And I'm like, bro, like, I've literally never smelt an isolated gallibanum or labdanum. I have no idea what you're talking about. And almost like throwing in those notes also, if you really think about it, have they actually really given you an idea what something smells like? Like, it would almost be a benefit to me for somebody to say, oh, this smells like a garden, or oh, this smells like Fruit Loops, or oh, this smells like a rainy forest, or like a dark green, or like a fresh wood. Like, those types of basic things are kind of missing in describing fragrances. I feel like they jump to the notes, and that makes me feel like they're kind of talking in a way like I never really felt this way when I was watching it, But looking back, I'm like, did they actually tell me much of anything by doing that? Like literally nothing at all. But I think it's a way for people to present, like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a fragrance expert. You should listen to me. It's part of the sale pitch almost, because there's really very little point in it. I will say though, like if a note is prominence, like you detect a lot of rose, that's another thing. I'm just more talking about when they go into the blends and it gets complicated and diluted, which seems to happen a lot. And then they'll make like weird statements like, oh, it's too mainstream, you shouldn't get it, like it's boring, it's mainstream. I'm like, is it really? Who cares? Like, what if you really love it? Do you actually think like you're gonna encounter somebody who's wearing the same thing as you and just be like, oh, I should have never bought this? Like only like 1 out of 100 people wear fragrance every day. And at the end of the day, it's like I see people out at the mall all wearing Panda Dunks by Nike, and they're all wearing the same thing and they don't care. So it's fascinating to me that something invisible like fragrance, something that's going to be detected differently in the air, that interacts with skin chemistry subjectively, that this is the one where we're worried about. This is like, because a lot of people will get the same cars, the same clothes, the same everything trying to match. But then with fragrances, it's like, oh, we need to be super unique. And I think a lot of that is just these reviewers parroting something and this overall tone of it. And I think it's all part of a sales pitch. So it all just feels super fake, super branded. And honestly, like I'm at a point where I love making the videos and I'm going to keep making them. But as far as educational value, there's some of that there. I try to provide that with the data, with providing 2 subjective perspectives of my wife, and giving you a note breakdown, the perfumer, like that's the educational part. But really the subjectivity is the entertainment. Like I feel like if I could put one disclaimer on all my videos, it would be for entertainment purposes only. Like literally for somebody who's just gonna be like somebody, you spray a fragrance on a paper, hand it to them, and they give you their honest opinion, but they're not douchey in the sense that they're just gonna put everything down, but they're also not a hype person that's just gonna lie to you. Like what made me start this channel is I was just giving out free samples, sending them in the mail, giving them to friends at work. Like I was the opposite of a gatekeeper. And when I was giving it to people, I just wanted to share that with them. And I honestly wanted their opinion. So that's what made me start the channel, is I realized I was passionate about fragrances. And I also realized like I could do the same thing for other people. And it would be like, I had the camera, I had the experience with After Effects, the microphone, I had the fragrances. So it was like a why not moment. And now I'm really passionate, really enjoy it, really love it. And I feel like fragrance, like when these branded deals come into the mix, they ruin it for everyone. They ruin it for the reviewer because the reviewer can't have fun anymore. And they ruin it for the person watching because the person watching is looking for that raw, real nature that YouTube used to have, and they're not getting it. And I don't want that to happen to me. Heck no. Like there's a plaque on my wall. Like I've had a channel that reached almost 400,000 subscribers, 60 million views. Never took a single branded deal, never will, because I don't want to be an employee. Like heck no. And it's sad to me that so many people are selling out something that could be so fun for both parties. So what do I trust when I'm researching a fragrance? How do I gain more perspective on it? I mean, I could watch a reviewer just to make sure it's not bad, like off-putting, but really I just search Reddit because you get a lot of perspectives that way. I'll go into Facebook groups and maybe make a post, be involved in the fragrance Facebook groups, get multiple perspectives. Parfumo, I feel, is great with their data and their reviews. And honestly, the comment section on YouTube, like sometimes I'll click a video on a fragrance and literally like pause the video and just literally read the comments. Like, because I feel like I gain more perspective reading from multiple people than just hearing this one person who's sponsored by the company. Like and there are good YouTube channels out there. I'm not going to name a lot of them. The one I really like is Seldomly Often. I'm going to link to his channel in the description, but he just seems like a very genuine guy, and his videos are very well thought out. He provides a lot of educational background, and he goes into how fragrances make you feel. He doesn't do the flexing and the whole hype train thing and doesn't have like 100 fragrances in the background, but I get a general sense he really knows what he's talking about from the sense that he's explored the fragrances and worn them quite a bit to be able to give such a personal opinion on them. I don't think he's one of those people that just sprays it on his arm and 30 minutes later, oh, I'm gonna make a video. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a verbal diarrhea. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. It's been an awesome adventure, and I feel like I'm just getting started, and I really appreciate you guys. Curious what you have to say about this topic in the comments. Feel free to leave those. Subscribe for future content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.